brain.
Yeah.
Much like our show is. Our show, Unsung, a massage for your brain. That's our new slogan.
Where was I going with that? Totally derailed.
See, his brain got too massaged.
I've been on fire calls where I fought the fire. I was standing with the chief when he was interviewed by XYZ Media, won't drop names. And then you go and read it the next day, and it's like, were we even in the same place? Like, you didn't even accidentally get a couple of facts right. It was totally manufactured. And no, not doing it.
Well, searches are even worse because they don't understand the vocation, and they understand even less, I should say. And one of the reasons I've gotten along good with some reporters is I've had reporters that have said, a local reporter here said, you mentioned side scanning sonar. Could you explain to me, or ground penetrating radar in this case, how that works so that I could speak better on it in my story? Absolutely. I'll do that all day.
And I applaud that.
How
does that work? Very well. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. But it's interesting.
Rather than the reporter that will take good notes and then go and Google it, get the wrong information, and the story's 180 degrees out of phase from where you were going with it,
Well, I remember there was this big interview, and I had to give it in sections to people, and it was like, okay, let's see who we're going to get. And it's like, okay, and you have the two just supermodel reporters, male and female, that know that you're going to pick them. And it was like, I went for the guy who was squinting his eyes because the light was hurting it, who was from radio. Right? You first, then newspaper, and then the supermodels. We're going to do a reverse order. And he was like, yes, finally. And, they appreciate it more. And he did a better story, I think.
Well, and I found that with, now that I'm doing the fire police thing, a lot of times I'm the one controlling the media coming into the scene. And I've gotten to the point where I've made some very good friends that are cameramen for the local news station. And there's also some that when they see me, they turn around and they leave because they know there's not a hope in hell of getting through.
Right.
If you listen to what I tell you and you follow the rules I give you, I will go to the mat trying to get you as close as I can within the scope of what you're allowed.
Right.
If you push that beyond where it's going to be, you will never get onto another scene that I'm on. They learned that quickly. We work well together. Everybody wins.
I had a thing recently where they wanted me to get rid of a guy, and there was no legitimate reason to get rid of him.
Yep.
And I went over and talked to him and said, what's your intentions with this story? And he said it, and he honored those. And he took one picture. He took one picture as I was breaking some news to somebody, a family member. And he took a picture, zoomed in on breaking news, and I walked over to him. I said, I'd appreciate if you didn't use that. I said, that is intrusive. And I don't think they need to remember that moment. It's burned into the head. He said, no problem.
Yep.
And he did that.
And I applaud that.
Yeah, I applaud that because it was a really good picture. It was a really good picture that he probably could have gotten some kind of award for.
Yeah.
Because you can't fake emotion. You can't fake that realness of a scene.
You can fake emotion, but not to that level.
Not to that level. You can just see, and that's why people, that's one of the reasons that this show, to whatever level it does works, is because there's not an ounce of pretense. There's not an ounce of subterfuge or anything. It's just raw and honest.
Yep.
And
there's no expectations, so there's nothing to be let down about.
There's nothing to be let down about. And that's why people like it. And that's, I got feedback on a show where somebody said that there was something we said in a show, and it would be much better if I actually remembered it, that changed your life. And I thought that was great. If that's all you ever do, if you just get one thing out, you said you listen to some shows and you got a couple good nuggets. If you can get one per show, one soundbite, one thing that somebody thinks that changes them in some direction where they go out and go kinder into a better world, then that's all you can hope for.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all you can hope for. And
it wasn't, as long as you learn something new every day of your life, it wasn't a wasted day. If I go through a whole day without learning anything new, I mean, getting old, some days it's, I shouldn't twist like that. That really hurts.
Yeah.
Other days, it's something important.
Getting old is weird because you learn stuff like, so now I can't wave when I'm climbing a ladder. Who knew that? Or whatever. You just learn different things.
I saw a thing, though, if you sneeze and fart at the same time, your body takes a selfie.
Yeah.
A screenshot. I'm sorry, not a selfie. I get my newfangled terminology all confused.
Yeah. We can't the things that you can't mix anymore, like snorting and all that stuff.
Although I came up with everybody does the selfies. I came up with a new one that I want to start getting people to do, and it's where you point the camera at somebody else and take their picture, and we're going to call it an other people-y.
Another people.
Yeah.
Put the camera to someone else and take. Well, that's just a picture.
Well, right, but that's boring by today's standards. So you got to call it something cool. So we'll call it another people-y.
Yeah, or.
I mean, there are people. If you look at their phone, they've never used the front-facing camera.
Somebody asked me the other day. They said, "Can you take a selfie of us?" Like.
No, it's physically impossible.
I just said, sure, whatever you need. Can you take a selfie of us?
See, I'm not that forgiving anymore. I'm the crankiness has just gone beyond that.
But there's no way you're not going to raise him up. You're going to come out dumber.
You could have a 15-pound sledgehammer and you're not going to beat that one into him. Yeah.
Can you take a selfie of us? You
should have got in between them. Sure.
Yeah. And you're thinking, we talked a little bit, you're thinking about doing a podcast potentially on
yeah, I'm kicking it around.
Yeah.
It seems fun. I mean, I've been on a handful of radio shows now. Sorry, you're not the first. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy sharing what I know. I don't know, it's fun. I enjoy sharing and teaching, and
radio is still, it has the luxury of still being, or radio is actually the wrong term, but audio is still intimate, I think.
Yeah, and I've been told for years that I have a perfect face for radio.
Right, and the wardrobe.
Yeah.
And the wardrobe. We're dressed for radio. And, And
the great thing about a podcast is if I'm doing it in the luxury of my own home, I don't even need to wear pants.
Right. Any occupation that's legal and you don't have to wear pants is a good career move. And, radio's theater of mind, and Unsung is a massage for your brain. So
you really need to start making bumper stickers.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Not that anybody would ever use. We digital bumper stickers. They
have those now. These suction things that go in the back of the car.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Wi-Fi, And, no, if you do it, I mean, pace yourself, put out 6 or so episodes before you release your first one, build up a little queue, and call upon people to talk to, and just mix it up. And people like conversations, because I think people are starved for conversations. I don't think they get it the way they used to.
Yeah, there's again a different world, but
yeah,
I never really jumped on the podcast bandwagon listening wise. I have other things to do with my time. I don't want to say better things because that's not accurate. And then I got into video podcasts when I found a show that I used to watch that was, taken off the air. And they came back as a video podcast, so I started watching that.
Once you get bit, it hits hard.
It does. It does. And then I guess my first real experience with just audio podcasts that I almost became addicted to, basically, is a foster care podcast through the agency that we foster through. And they just do a monthly podcast to bring you up to speed on stuff. And I'm like, this is really good. Again, if I can spend a half hour listening to something and take something away from it, that was a well-spent half hour.
Why don't you find out how you work with them to make their podcast better?
It's probably not a horrible option.
Yeah.
See if they can go the avenue that I want to go also, or I can do it for them and just market it with their podcast or something.
Or you do a commentary on their podcast and you can split what you say in 2-3 minutes in the end of a couple of them or something like that and start
at least to get started, and then maybe spin off from there.
Yeah. Build up.
But yeah, and then, once I got hooked on your podcast, the rest is kind of history. Now I've got an earbud in my ear 85% of the day.
Yeah. That's the thing about it. It's absolutely opposite of what I preach is that I have these things on my head, and I don't. If you notice, they're not blocking my ears.
Yep.
I do not block because I do not want.
You lose your situational awareness by doing that.
Yep. And I have it on low, but I'll be walking around at times listening to a book on tape or something.
Well, the ones I got have. It's got the mics in it. It's dual ear, but you can use one ear, and they're Bluetooth. But with the mics in each ear, you can do what it's pass-through sound, so you get the ambient environment around you. So I'm not missing what's going on around me. If I'm driving, I only have one in just because.
That's what I do with
Mr. Safety.
With the little Apple ones.
Yeah.
What I like about this is bone induction.
Oh, nice.
So it works off the vibration of the ear, so it doesn't block at all. What's nice about bone induction is that I like saying bone induction, but what's nice about it is that wind doesn't show up at all. There's no wind noise.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and if you have them on right and they're fitted right, it's 100% reproduction of your voice as well. The technology is outstanding if you're getting the good stuff.
Regular earbuds fall out of my ears.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I've got a misshapen head, too much forceps at birth or something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it could be.
But, maybe I should sue somebody.
Too much in there.
Yeah. But they don't fit right. But, yeah.
Well, I have a pair of it's like a generation or two back of Samsungs. I got them from a buddy of mine. And I actually wanted to get the newer ones, but they're not knowing that I'm going to use them heavily. I'm not investing in brand new top of the line earbuds.
My ex gave me her earbuds from the Apple ones. They're very good. And they last forever, and they have a rechargeable case. And then I got a case that I put over the case, which made it a
case that charges the case that charges
QI
the earbud.
Case.
Oh, okay.
A QI case without paying for the QI upgrade, and the new ones are paying another $200. But she gave me a nice set of earbuds. I really appreciate it. I mean, they cost a lot. I'm glad I appreciate she gave them to me. It was nice. I mean, it seemed like it was a great gesture on her part. Small payment for 20 years of hell, but it was a good gesture on her part. I'm convinced they're going to explode and blow my head off or something at some point. It's really
Does she think that far ahead that you need to be worried?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, she does.
Is this the ex that I know?
I think you know her.
Yeah.
I think you know her. She plays a long game.
Yeah.
But no,
that's when you need to be concerned.
She just, we get to the point where something doesn't work for us, we know it, and just give it to somebody who's going to work for. But
the reason the batteries are so good after all that time is because they still need to detonate the explosive.
Yeah. But okay, well, anything you want to say before you go?
No, thanks for having me. It was
thanks for coming. It was good to see you. Good to see you. And if you
once every couple of years, whether we need to or not, kind of thing.
Yeah, anything else is too much.
Right.
Let's be honest.
That's why we still like each other.
Yeah. Once every 2 years, whether you need to or not, But yeah, thanks for coming. And if you need help with your podcast, I'd be happy to.
All right. I will absolutely keep that in mind. Thanks again.
Okay. Hit the button, Russell. Thanks for your input.